your Smart Notebook, you have your main toolbar. There are lots of buttons here, and they are pretty self-explanatory. This little arrow button here is your select tool. This shapes button will allow you to draw some geometric shapes. You can change the color of those shapes using color swatches. You can change the line that those shapes have using the line swatches here. And you can also make your shapes more or less transparent with this slider. I can draw some more geometric shapes using the secondary shape tool. If you click on your inverted arrow, I could make a 16-sided shape, which is pretty impressive. If I wanted to change the color, make a purple one maybe, perfect. Now if I decided I wanted to undo that last step, I didn't want that purple 16-sided shape, I could click the undo button up here. It looks like a backwards arrow, and it would undo my last step. Similarly, the redo button will redo my last step. I could save my work with the save button. I could delete an object. Go back to my select tool, select the object I want to delete, and I can either click delete on my keyboard or I can use the red X button up here. This will delete an object that you have selected. This is a table button, and this works really similar if you've ever created a table in Word. I'm just going to select how many squares I want for my table, and I can drag it and place it where I'd like. In the table, you can add text simply by double-clicking into a box, text. But you also have a text tool on your main toolbar. You can click anywhere to create a text box. This is a text box. And I can size it, make it work for my needs. I can also change the font, the size, the alignment, the boldness, the color, the transparency, a lot of the same features you have with shapes. If I decided I wanted more of my page just isn't long enough, I could either extend the page or I could click and add a new page. Right now I only have the one page open. Let's click and add a new page. My pages are all still there. Everything I had is still there, but I have a new page now. I can also toggle back and forth between all of my pages using these page back and forth buttons up top. Right now I'm on page 2. If I wanted to go back to page 1, I could simply click the back button and it would toggle me back up to page 1. Maybe I decided I wanted to hide my little box here from my students. I didn't want to show that off right off the bat. By using this little pull down screen button, I can create a screen that's going to hide either all of my page or parts of my page. I'm now just going to use my mouse to click and drag my screen, and it will stop wherever I leave it. I can also decide I only want to show a portion that way. You can drag to the left, to the right. If you decide you want to get rid of the screen altogether using the little red X, you can delete it. If you need to add some rulers, protractors, because you're trying to measure some of your boxes using all of your mathematical measurement tools here, just select the one you would like. Using my select tool, I can adjust the angle of it. If I wanted to delete it, I could just simply use the red X to delete. And if I decided that I didn't want, maybe I don't want this extra second page, I don't really need it, I'm going to select that second page and I'm going to click the page delete button, and it will simply delete that page for me. Yeah, so those are mainly the buttons on your main toolbar. We have some add-ons and some other things that we're going to talk about in other videos, so that should be enough to get you started. You can add drawings with the pen, you can erase them with the eraser. A lot of it is pretty intuitive. You can draw some lines. If you've ever created shapes and lines in Word, Smart Notebook works really similarly. This top tab here on my right is the page sorter tab. If I double click it, it should show you all of your pages. I have 4 pages right now, and I can very easily just change the order of my pages by clicking and dragging them. So let's imagine, there we go, that I want my page 3 with my purple circle to really be the first page. I'm going to click it and drag it. I'm going to let go up by the top. You'll notice that when you go to drag, a little blue bar pops up. That's sort of indicating that, yes, this is where I want to insert that page. Want to insert some media or an image into my Smart Notebook that I don't already have on my computer. I can search for some images that are already in Smart Notebook using the Image tab here. They've got lots of images in the gallery, and I can even search for an image that I'm looking for right here. So let's imagine that I'm looking for, maybe I'm looking for some art pictures, art supplies. I'm going to type in art, click cancel, or click OK. And it looks like there are 331 pictures that are related to art. I can sort of just scroll through these and find the picture that I'm looking for. There we go, paintbrush. I'm going to just drag and drop it right onto my screen. Clicking back, let's go back. You can also just sort of browse through what's available. So I could have just looked in arts and looked to see what was in there. Notice that there was a lot less, but these might be more art specific. So you can really sort of just play around and see what's already built into Smart Notebook. There are a ton of images that already exist. You don't need to bring a whole lot of stuff in. You can input your own images with the Attachments tab, but Smart Notebook has so many images already, you don't need to worry too much about it. These little blue buttons at the bottom are Smart Exchange buttons. Don't worry about those quite yet. We're going to talk about Smart Exchange in a little bit. One of your features in Smart Notebook is called your Attachments tab, and it looks like this little paper clip here on the side. If you were on the Pages tab and you're not sure where to find it, it's a couple down. So I'm going to click on my paper clip, and I can add some attachments to my Smart Notebook. Clicking on Add, Insert File will open up my Finder, and I can choose my file, whichever file I would like. Click Open, add my file right in. I'm just clicking and I'm dragging it right onto my document. Let's say that I wanted to put this US map on a new page. I'm going to delete it. Go back to my Page tab, add a new page. And now I can go back. I've already inserted, I've already brought this file in. It's really easy just to drag over now. I can resize it to fit, make it a little bit smaller. And there I have. That's how you would add an attachment. You can also look for attachments. If you have hyperlinks, if you want to add a link, you can do it that way. Clicking on the link button, you could type in your link. Maybe I want it to display as Google search engine, insert link. And again, I'm going to just drag and drop. Now when my students click on this, it will take them directly to Google. This tab here with the A and the squares is great for adjusting some of the properties of your images, your text, and what you see here in this box will change based on what you have currently selected. So if I select my purple circle, and I go back to my Attachments tab, now I can easily change the color of my circle just by clicking. I can use the eyedropper tool to choose a color, even a color outside. Let's say I like the blue of my folder here. It will pick up that color. I could add a gradient, I could fill it with a pattern, or I could fill it with an image if I wanted to browse from my computer. I could also set it to no fill if I want to just leave it open. So now when I move it around, it's not actually white, there's nothing in there. I can change the style of the line. I could make it really thick, really thin. I can make it dashed with this little drop down menu. And I could animate my object too. I could make it fade in, fade out, twirl around, and that only happens either when the object is clicked or when the page is entered. So if kind of like in PowerPoint, how you can add transitions to certain objects. Maybe I decided I want my circle to shrink and grow whenever the object was clicked. So if I went into, let's see, here we go. Every time I click on it, it will shrink and grow. If I add some text to my screen, again, my text is now selected. Here we go, go back to my Properties tab. There are less options under Properties tab for text, but I can essentially change the color. I can choose any color from the color wheel that I really want, which makes it nice. Let's talk about how to use some of the add-on features. The add-on button is this little puzzle piece here. So I'm going to actually start out by adding maybe a couple shapes. What are these? Now these 4 buttons here are alignment buttons. So if I select my multiple shapes and I use these buttons, I can align them, the bottoms of them, I can align them all to the left, I can align the tops, I can align them left. We have other options too. This is a concept map, or like a mind map. Concept map. And if I double click on the plus sign, it will add extra branches here. Branch 1. If I double click again, and I can change the text. Branch 2. And I can add sub, other branch, etc., etc. I can also add in equations either using the pen. I grab a pen here, so I can have it write out square root of 4, and it will show up. And if I click my plus sign here, it shows up there, and I can move this around, resize it. I can also draw in my equations, insert my equations with the keyboard. So I can do 7 plus 12 equals, right? So you can insert an equation here. Add a graph. So I can actually change the way my X and Y axes look. If I click on this button, I can switch over to a grid style. I can make this funky grid, right? Maybe I want to go with this grid for now. And you can add some different plots. You can plot some different lines. So maybe I just want to put some points, and I can just sort of click for those points to be there, and it will show up right over here, their actual location. I can create a line. I can adjust it however I need it to. I can have some polygons. I can add circles. I can add some hyperbola. Right? So you can get really kind of crazy with your graphing here, and that's using the GeoGebra widget. Now I also have some add-ons over here. Notice it's the same button. I can insert a YouTube video. So I can either search for a video. So you could search for anything. Add video, and it will pop up on your player. It doesn't have any of those pesky ads, so you can move it around. You can resize it. So that's kind of cool. Back in our little add-on thing here, I click back. I can also record my screen with the lesson recorder. Click on New Recording, and it's only going to record what's in the red box. So when I click stop, I'm going to draw something. Oh, there we go, now it's recording. And let's imagine that I was drawing. And when I click stop, I have my recording here and I can play it. Besides recording, let's get rid of all of this. I can add some smart blocks. These are math blocks. Here we go. So if I drag a block onto the screen and 3 and a 6. Now if I connect them with my pen to the box, there we go. And it gives you your equation here. We have addition, subtraction, multiplication, lots of different math things here. You also have what's called an activity builder. I'm going to need to first add some objects to my screen. So let's add the number 2, and then half a sandwich, and the apple fourths. Okay, and I'm going to select my number 2. When I go to my activity builder option, since the 2 is selected, I'm going to click on edit, and notice that my 2 has become faded out. If I click on add all remaining objects, both of these objects will fly into this box. This is saying right now that if I tried to sort these 2 objects with the 2, that they would be accepted. Of course, there are more than 2 things here, so I'm going to drag my apples to the rejected category. Perfect. Now if I was asking, once I'm done with that, let's do settings. Things that are accepted will fade away, and things that are rejected will bounce back. Click done. Now, if I ask kids to sort which object has 2 things, when they drag this sandwich to the 2, it accepts it and it disappears. If I tried to drag the apples, it would reject it and it would bounce back. That's how our activity builder works. My last add-on is an image web search. So if I click on image web search, I can search for pictures in Bing. So I wanted a picture of a house. Click search, powered by Bing, and I can just grab and drag my picture on the screen, which is kind of handy. I can easily move items using my cursor button. I can select them, my select tool, and just by clicking around and holding my mouse down, I can move my items wherever I want them to go. If I click once on an item, it will select it. And then using this round circle here, I can adjust the size. I'm just dragging. If I want to keep the proportions of my object, I can do so by holding down the Shift button on my keyboard. And all of a sudden, you notice now, it won't let me stretch this and skew it really out of proportion. If I let go of my Shift button, I can really get crazy. Holding the Shift button will keep the proportions as they are while you're moving them. I can also rotate an object using this green circle up top. Kind of looks like a little lollipop. And notice when I float my cursor over it, it actually appears as these little rotate symbols. I'm going to click on my green circle and just hold it down, and I'm just rotating it using my mouse. Dragging my mouse to the right, to the left will rotate your object. I can rearrange my objects. If I right click on order, and I can send it backwards. That way my circle will now go in front of my square, and I can easily delete my shape either by hitting the delete button on my keyboard or by clicking the red X. To add images or media, I can either add add them using my attachments tab. I can also just drag things in from my desktop. So if I have a picture on my desktop that I want to add in here, I can literally just drag it in and drop it. And I can move it around. I can do whatever I want with it once it's in that tab. That's the easiest way to add media, but you can also go into the attachments, add from your computer with this little paperclip button, and then scroll through and find whatever picture you're looking to insert.